Brought to you by Onnit.com. Go to Onnit.com and use code word church to get 10% off all of the great optimization products like Alpha Brain, New Mood, and ShroomTech Immune and ShroomTech Sport.
What's up, cocksuckers? Joey Diaz and my main man, Lee Syatt, February 10th. A beautiful fucking day to be alive. Have you been watching this O.J. Simpson thing?
I haven't. I'm saving it to watch all at once because I've heard it's amazing.
What are you fucking saving? What are you saving money here?
No, just saving it to watch all at once so I can watch the whole thing.
So what do you do when it's on TV? What do you do? You sit there like a Mama Luca?
I don't have cable, so I watch everything later. You
don't have time to be. Just watch it by the episode, all right? And you can think about it and watch it a couple times and digest, because I had to watch it a couple fucking times. Now, did you know anything about this growing up?
And that's why that's why I want to watch it all at once, because it's so. I know about it after the fact. Like the only time I've ever seen OJ, he was in an episode of Jail. Like, you know, the cops show that they kind of shoot in jail. He showed up there once in Vegas, but I didn't know anything about him in football. I wasn't really around for the trial. And so it's just, I don't have any of that background knowledge. All I know of OJ is hearing about the trial.
You know, OJ was a fucking great athlete in the late 70s, 80s, just Monday nights. I don't remember no distinctive things, okay? I just remember he played for the Bills, and when he touched the ball, people went crazy, and he was thin, and he ran fucking beautifully, and, I don't remember them winning a Super Bowl with him or anything. So in my mind, he never stood out that much. Over the years, I saw him in movies.
Okay.
Like everybody else. I saw him in movies and TV shows. And then one day I'm reading something, and it said that OJ had been charged or something, that his wife was claiming he hit her. And one of those things that you look at and just go, okay, whatever, it got nothing to do with me. That's just interesting. And then when I looked at the wife, to be honest with you, I didn't even look at the wife. I didn't even know what she looked like, nothing. I just moved on with my life.
Well, what was it like back then? Because now you hear it's all in the news every few months. There's some star, either it's sports or like actors hitting their wives.
That really gave everybody awareness. Like, that changed the game.
Oh, okay.
Like, that changed the game. You and Paula got into an argument.
Right.
Okay. Paula throws a glass at you because she's mad. You
grab her wrist or something, like to stop her from hitting you?
Yeah, grab her wrist from stopping. Let's say she attacks you and you stop her wrist. Her wrist is red. The neighbor calls the cops. The cops come to your door. They talk to you, then they separate you. In those days, if Paula didn't look visibly beaten, they asked her if it's okay if Lee stayed. Was she scared of you? And the woman said no, he could stay. That's it. Cops would leave. Now, if you and Paula get into the argument and the cops come, 9 out of 10, Lee, you're going to fucking jail.
Just
because of the OJ thing. That's how much awareness it gave to the country. Just to stop it. Like, that's it. Like, whether he touched her wrist, tapped her hand, bumped her chest against her, and told her he loved her, it's not going any further.
Any contact, it's over.
Any contact, it's over.
Okay.
Now, I had seen domestic violence as a kid, not in my home, next door, for about a year.
A year?
And for a long time, I've been thinking about it. Like, I thought about it, like, what happened? And I have a good memory about things. This is just blacked out. I saw her. I heard the yelling. I heard the dishes, shit like that. And then one night, at about 2 a.m, I just saw something. She pounded on my door, and she was covered from head to toe in blood.
Oh, my God.
And I remember my mom making a remark the next day. Sometimes when I talk to you, I think of my mom and me having a conversation. Because my mom would tell me things, and I'd tell her why the big weird word in those days wasn't positive. Like, now the big word is, why are you saying something negative? It was just, like, why would you say something like that? People would confront you, and the next morning, like, she came over, we kept her in there, my mom changed her. I don't really remember what happened after that.
It must have been.
But I remember the next morning she went right back next door.
Oh.
And he had hit her with something, and I mean, it was just terrible. There was blood everywhere. You know, she refused to get stitches. I don't remember. But what I do remember is saying to my mom, like, what happened? And she said, it really doesn't matter because she went back to him. And she's going to go get hit one more time. And I go, why would you say something like that? And she said, women are just stupid from time to time. Remember my own mom saying this to me. And I never thought about it again, Lee. Never again. It had nothing to do with me. Nothing to fucking do with me. And I get divorced in 91. I get separated in 91. And it was an amicable separation. No big fucking deal, you know. People break up all the time, you know. And at this time, I was unhappy. I didn't know the center. We spoke about my unhappiness, that I was going to walking meditation. I didn't know what the stem of the unhappiness was. Once she disappeared and I got into stand-up, I was very happy. The only sadness was that child.
That you weren't in her life as much.
No, but now I knew. I didn't know. I was very naive. I believed everything my ex-wife said to me. Ba, 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 ba. You're going to see her. You're going to be a part of her life. And that was just words to get her out. She thought about it, you know, if you think back in hindsight. But that's not what this is about. What this is about was that we went from an amicable relationship to a shitty relationship, and throw the addiction on there, me not working, all the shit I was doing. I fell apart, and I went back to New York in January of 93 with the thought that I would give that bad taste a separation, some air.
Now, were you sad leaving your daughter for that?
Yeah. I knew I was leaving her, but I knew that she was in good hands, and I knew that I wasn't getting nowhere, and I knew so many fucking things. And I had this bad feeling, and I was heartbroken. Trust me, I'm telling you. I'm just saying it very nonchalantly. But that whole time in New York, I was heartbroken. It was the catalyst in my addiction. Like, it was really breaking my heart at night, on top of many other things.
Now, why couldn't you just stay in... I'm not sure the city you were in, Denver, wherever.
I was in Boulder.
You were in Boulder, and just not go and be around her. Just still give her space. But why do you have to go to New York?
It was the end of a 3-year run. You know, that whole thing of me getting in trouble was to get money to go back to New York. I was trying to get back to New York. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And now it's 91, and I go back to New York. I see it for 10 days. It's not the New York I left. I regroup with my dad. I go back to Colorado. We separate, and 3 months is great, and all of a sudden, January of 93, it just goes somewhere completely different. She's got a boyfriend. She's living with the guy. The baby's living in there. It's just a horror show. Is it eating me alive? No. What's eating me alive is that my child is in that house. I don't know who these people are. I was raised a different way. I was raised that if your child's going to move into my house, I'm going to come talk to you and say, listen, he's going to live with me. Well, there's not going to be a problem, man.
If let's say that happened, and I know it's easy to look back on it, if he had come over and just said, hey, my name's so-and-so, your daughter's going to be living with me, could your entire life be different? Could you
I
still
would
be
have
living
been pissed
in Colorado?
off for 3 days, 4 days, but then I would have gotten over it, and I would have understood it. It's the way they went about it. So this went on for a year so now it's January 92, and this went on till January of 93. I mean, we were almost at blows by this time. We were always in court. We were both broke from the thing. I go to New York. For 9 fucking months. Okay? I stay in New York for 9 fucking months. I'm doing comedy. I'm building up my bankroll a little bit. I was a little light on cash. All my credit cards have been spent. I was around my friends. When you're feeling bad about yourself and things aren't going your way, just go home. Go home. Walk those fucking streets you walked to grammar school. Walk the streets where you learned about life, and you'll get some egging back to you. And I was getting some egging back to me, and I was breaking down where my life was. I was breaking it down and going home at night and making notes. And I wasn't doing an amount of stand-up I wanted to. I was doing a lot more blow than I was doing stand-up. But at the end of all that, something made me go home. and with a focus. I was going to do stand-up comedy and commit and be a dad to this little girl.
Now, are you in contact with the ex-wife at all during those 9 months?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sending money. I'm sending shit, towel, whatever. I'm walking down 42nd Street once a week. And you walk down 42nd, you'll find toys.
Oh, yeah.
So I would send shit, and then she wouldn't get it, or there was always drama. But by this time, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was walking into. So I go back now, 93. I get into comedy, and we're at war. We're immediately.
Fuck.
And it's getting worse and worse and worse, and one thing leads to another. And all of a sudden, one day, I slept over my friend's house, and I wake up one day, and I read this article about O.J.'s wife getting killed. Now, you got to remember, she got killed late at night. So the news in the morning papers was very light. It was very light the next day. All that was said at that point was that O.J.'s wife had been killed. And O.J. was on a plane to Chicago for blah, blah, blah. So that gave you, it threw you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that was the initial report, that he was in Chicago, why she got killed. So now right away in my heart, I knew he killed her. Like, as soon as I read the article, after I had read that other article a year later saying that he had beat her or the cops came, or I don't remember what it was, and I don't want to say that he got arrested. I don't know what had happened. I made an assumption in my head just from what things I knew and what I grew up around. You know what I'm saying?
It just immediately, you're like, oh, he killed her.
He killed her. So usually, like, I'm a law buff, and I'm a fan of different cases. If somebody gets arrested and there's some way I could get documents, I'll read up and read up on the trial just to see what motions they filed, just to see little things, just to see if they're doing their job. Because I want to learn. Maybe I want to learn something. Wow, he filed a motion to transfer this to a different county because of prejudice. Just the different things. There's so many fucking thousands of motions you could file. So for some reason, I just like this case. But the reason why I like this case wasn't because I like this case. It was because deep down inside, man, I wanted to kill my fucking wife, Lee. I mean, I was just growing this anger about it, and I was just getting angrier and angrier. So while this is going on, it's fueling my fucking little undertone I have of going up to them, by June of 94, her and I had been through a couple things. One thing that I thought about last night was they hit me with a 2x4, and the other guy came, and I hit the other guy back, and they hit Hercules, and there was just a series of events that, I got to tell you something, they used my style of torturing people. They were always laying something on me once a week. I was always getting something laid on me once a week. Like, once a week, I was getting a call with bad fucking news. That wears on you, Lee. That wears on you.
What kind of bad news?
Oh, my God. I'm broke. Like, she would call me and go, I got a call from American Express. You owe them $10,000. You better pay that fucking thing off because my name is on it. And I go, fuck you. By this time, I was just spiting her. Like, I was just doing shit just to spite her.
Thank God you guys got divorced. Like, do you ever think if you
No.
stayed together?
But when we were together, it wasn't like that. This is what I'm saying to you. It was 3 months after the divorce.
Is that part of the mind fuck that, like, you had great times with this late woman, and then she's like 3 months later she's just fucking you?
I didn't know what was going on. What really happened was this: she had moved in with the guy at this point, and one night I was getting gas, like mid-January, towards the end of January, and she pulled up in his car, and she's like, "You motherfucker, you having a good time lately? You're dating a 20-year-old girl, a 21-year-old girl, blah, 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 blah. We should try to talk this out." And it was weird because she goes, "I'll be at your house tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
To get her stuff.
To talk to me about it. She had already moved in with the guy. She had already taken everything out of my house. We were in the process of selling the condo that I had bought when I was in the halfway house. That's what we're in the process of doing. So here we are trying to sell a condo, and we're fucking talking to an attorney, but I don't want to get off track here.
Okay.
The main thing was that while all this OJ thing, you're going to watch this, while all these little stories were getting released, I was plotting to fucking ice her. Like, I didn't know how. Like, it was fueling my hate. So when I watch this show now, I tape it like at 7, and then later on at night I watch it. They're only up to arresting him. I mean, you're not missing nothing right now still. You know, I don't give a fuck if it's a spoiler alert. You got to watch
No,
TV.
it's how many years old is the case? That's not a spoiler alert.
But they're finding out they're releasing a lot of things that they didn't release during the case. You know, this is a very interesting case because this case was won on the presumption that LAPD fucked up, which they fucked up. Basic fucked up, you know. And then the prosecution, the defense also proved that not only were they fucked up, but they were racist.
I don't know how that gets you out of fucking killing somebody. That's fucking crazy. How like that's a defense.
Especially when your glove had blood on it.
Yeah.
They messed up evidence. Like they saw OJ. I always knew about this. Somebody saw OJ that night driving in a hurry. But she sold her story to some news station so they couldn't use it towards the defense. Like the defense had so many things, but the most important thing was they had a print on a gate.
On the wooden gate, you said, right?
On a metal gate or
metal
something.
Gate. Okay.
But that night it rained. And that print washed off. When they went to it, it was already gone. The guy that checked out, the cop didn't log it. It was late. People are switching shifts. It's like any other job. You see a murder, you see 2 people bloodied, guess what? If it happens at 11:30, you're going to go check it out, but at 12, you're getting the fuck out of there. Because that's a lot of paperwork, a lot of press. If that's not your shift, you're getting the fuck out of there. And that's what somebody exactly did. But by leaving, they left a fingerprint.
And that changed the entire... Like, what do you think at that? You were just out of prison in the halfway house, and you see this dude who's an NFL player and has money, and because of that, he's getting out from killing somebody.
You can buy a defense in this country. There's some things you can't buy out of. There's some things, if they got you... Listen, if they would have caught him with a knife to her neck, with a camera and him smiling... Nah, that's
right,
it.
Yeah.
And Ronald Goldman laying next to him. Yeah. But it was all the drive on Venice Boulevard or whatever, Washington Boulevard. I'm sorry if I'm making mistakes and the lady's seeing her. The finger tip, you know, Mark Furman adding blood. And then they caught somebody adding blood. Like there was blood missing from a tube. It was just fucking crazy. But the bottom line was that it had to do with what had happened years earlier. There was a race riot here when they announced the cops that beat up
Rodney King.
So there had been a big race thing here. But again, this I'm every day on the OJ thing, different facts would come out that were fueling my anger and rage and letting me know. Like I'm like. I thought he didn't get let go till October of 95 or something, or 96 or something like that. Or he killed him in 94. Yeah, June 12th or something in 94. He sat in jail for 18 months. Yeah, so 95, October, December is when he fucking got out. October, when he got acquitted. I'm sorry.
And that's fucking crazy. Just there's trials that like really are part of like a generation. Like is this the biggest trial of your life? Like just every night, just new information, just the entire country's watching it.
Yes, yeah, this is the biggest one, and it was made very public. You know, there was a lot of access to it. You know, CNN was always talking about the facts and stuff like that. After I moved to LA, I found out little things because I had met different people here, and they each had little stories about OJ and. You know, that Ronald Goldman was really bringing her blow. Fuck. That he was bringing her coke. That's what really happened.
So that's what everyone else is talking about. They're talking about that, and they're like, "Oh, it's terrible that he killed her." You said it's fueling your rage. So like when you're hearing it, what are you thinking?
I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly how I want to do it. I want to show up there at night when they're fucking talking and just slice both their fucking necks off. But by that time, I wasn't thinking about my daughter. I wasn't thinking about nothing. I was just thinking about how they had yanked me. You know, one of the lessons that my mom taught me early, nunca te quedes down, never stay hit. These people were fucking me up legally. And they had me on one thing off the bat, the kidnapping and the prison time. Like, it was going to be tough for me to prove my point as a good dad, unless I would have spent $100,000 or $200,000 on a great defense, on a great attorney that would have built up different avenues of and said, this is, if I would have had a house, a car, responsible job, if I would have had relatives in the neighborhood, I would have taken Kathy to court.
Yeah, because you said even the judge at one point brought up the fact that, like, she was with you during it. You guys didn't get married until after you got out of prison.
Right.
So how's that even an argument? Then? That doesn't make sense.
So this, I'm watching this show last night. And while you ever watch something but you're thinking about something else?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what was going on. I'm thinking about this time. And there was, even my wife at one time said to me, you're quiet tonight. I go, I'm thinking about this, how I can't even tell this story to people because they'll think I'm crazy. So I have to tell them on the podcast tomorrow when I could really tell them that. I saw pictures of the crime scene. Like, pictures of the crime scenes have been leaked. He decapitated her. I mean, it was held by just a couple fucking...
So where would stuff get leaked back then, before the internet? Like, how would it... Like, the newspapers can't print that.
CNN had pictures, pictures were getting released, pictures were getting bought, And I remember seeing the crime scene and thinking about the final result. I had a friend, when I first moved to Bolton in 85, I used to buy weed I used to live at 1012 14th Street on the hill.
Okay.
Right across the street from the university. It was a boarding house. And I lived in an apartment with 3 other fucking morons. A Japanese kid, a white kid, and a Mexican kid. The Japanese kid was my cook. I used to go up to the fucking, to the thing, buy meat, and he would cook it for me, Japanese style with steamed rice, and he would get half the food. So that was my deal.
You always get stuff. How do you get someone to be your chef?
Because he was a poor college student from Japan. He was eating shit. And one night I go, don't your parents send you money? My parents, no, pop. So I said, fuck it. So I said, here's the deal. I'm going to go to Alfalfa's on the hill every fucking day and buy meat, chicken, pork, and it's shredded, it's organic. I want you to make something nice. Tell me what you want me to get in the morning, and I'll get it. And he would say, today, get pork, get 3 onions, get 2 pieces of mushroom, get fucking this type of mushroom, get this type of mushroom. We'd buy some jasmine rice, and he'd have jasmine rice at the house. And when I got home at 5 or 6 from work, bam, he would cook up a fucking little meal for me, and he would get to eat.
How great is that? That's an amazing story.
That's way better
than
Blue
Apron. How long
did
did you do that?
Till the cops were looking for me 2 months later.
2 months of Japanese cooking. That's fucking
tremendous.
Amazing.
Every night I went to Alfalfa's. I bought some food. I brought it home about 12 after I went to the gym because it was part of my gym walk. I wasn't working. I had money from the fucking settlement, and I had money on a credit card. I had a thievery credit card. So I was living like a doctor, Jack. I'd get up about 8:30, smoke a number, but next door to me were these hippies. Like this really old, ugly hippie and her little young, stinky boyfriend. So she was 50-something, and he was 25. He was a nerd with glasses, very sweet. And she was very sweet, too. She got hit with the ugly stick 1,000 times. Like, nobody ever thought of fucking this woman except...
And she was a hippie, so she was stinky.
And she was a stinky, dirty feet. And she'd drink all day and sell weed. So I met this dude out of there. His name was Ed. And me and Ed used to walk out and smoke a joint, and then we'd go get cookies or a slice of pizza. And little by little, I became friends with Ed. He was my Goomba, Ed. And he was a Vietnam vet. Okay?
That also bought weed from her. And, we became friends, and he would tell me how he would go to the VA, and
he was captured in Vietnam, and little by little we became friends, and we kept talking and talking and talking. And some nights we'd buy weed and just go to the hill and smoke a joint and sit up there and talk shit. And then I told him I was a thief one time. And he told me he was broke. He didn't get a check till like the 5th. I said, come on, let's go rob some. So he went down to the Pearl Street Mall, and there was a cookie thing on the corner. And I said, stay on the cops. Stay on the corner. If you see a cop coming down that block, fucking wave your hands or whistle and walk slowly. And sure enough, I kicked the window in. I robbed the place for nothing. $160 in nickels or something stupid. I was a punk. And I gave him half, and we became friends after that. He goes, you're the real deal. Fuck you. You'd be my lookout. So he would come with me on credit card things. He would come with me on different things. So over the years, we just stayed in touch. But he was a killer. Never forget what he was. I mean, he took me to where he was staying one time. He lived like by Chautauqua Park, and like 8 guys lived in an apartment. And he lived like in a tent in the corner for like $100 a month. And he'd take showers there, and he'd read.
How old was he around, do you think?
If I was 20 when I met Ed, you figure 85. I was 22 years old when I met Ed. Ed had to be 10, 15, 20 years older than me, maybe 15 years older than me.
So you start a 40-year-old man on a criminal career path.
Me and Ed. Ed, come on, look out for me. Whatever I made, I gave Ed half. So Ed became my fucking illegal bodyguard. Ed had knives. Ed had weapons. Ed had fucking night goggles. Ed had everything because he was still involved with those Vietnam dudes. He was still involved with training at the facilities. He would go down and train, no matter how old he was, and no matter whether he was a little fucked up in the head. Ed was still a killing machine. So even I kept Ed as a friend when I went to prison. He would write me letters. Ed was a real fucking deal. I mean, I want to cry because out of all the people I lost contact with, it was Ed.
And so why did you lose contact then if you were
Because
so close?
Ed and me, I moved to Seattle. Ed had like a number and a P.O. box. And I wrote him a few letters, and he never wrote me back. So then when I went to Boulder in 96, when I left Seattle, I went back to Boulder. I went looking for him, and people said they hadn't seen him, that he might have moved to Denver because it was getting gentrified. Boulder also. It was after the earthquake in Northridge. After an earthquake, this place fucking clears out, Chad.
Oh,
People start from scratch somewhere else. So a lot of people moved, a lot of people came. So Ed, probably his rent, they tore down where he lived. Who knew? But Ed got out of Boulder. I never saw Ed again. But Ed was my fucking friend, Ed was like a Rago type friend to me, like a Filato. Like Ed, I loved Ed.
Well, to have the kind of trust you probably need in somebody to rob places with them.
It was more than that. I don't know. Like I remember one time, me and Ed were by Rose's. Rose's was a place that roasted chickens. Okay?
Okay.
And it was the daytime, and me and Ed was stoned to the gills. We had just smoked like a joint and a half, and we were eating munchies, and we're sitting in front of the Fox Theater, and all of a sudden 10 cops pull up, and there's a dude in the roof, and he's thinking of jumping, right? And I look at Ed, and there's 10 cops, and there's a psychiatrist talking to him, and I yell, jump, in front of all these people, and Ed and me just fucking fall out, like just fall the fuck out on the floor. People are looking at me like, get the fuck out of here, what's wrong with you? And now we're both yelling in unison, jump, 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 cocksucker, jump. And he's like, fuck you. The guy's up on the roof, fuck you too.
Egging on us to it.
The cop's like, we're going to fucking arrest you. So me and Ed ran, and Ed was my dog. So when I was going through all this, I was going to Ed and crying and going, Ed, can you believe she did this to me? And Ed goes, listen, okay, so you slice her throat. Who gets the kid? And I go, and he goes, listen, there's a way that you could kill her and nobody will fucking know. I mean, so Ed had a friend named Ra.
Just Ra?
Ra. He had Agent Orange on his face.
That's scary.
He was really scary. Like, people called him Saint and shit. And Ed said that in Vietnam, he was one of those guys that cut people's ears off and shit. So Ed talked to Ra, and they're like, dog, we could supply you with everything to make her fucking disappear. So you kill her, you disappear, No, they don't find the body. I'll teach you how to fucking backpedal everything so they can't find you. Nothing, no scent.
Well, wait. Okay, so you're pissed off. You want to kill her.
I'm
right?
furious. Now, this is what happens. Christmas, he kills her June of 94.
Right.
Now, I've had enough.
Okay.
They're fucking with me. I can't see the baby for Christmas. I can't do this. And this was one of the scariest things I ever did. I get a call one day. It's Christmas Eve morning or something, one of those, like the day before Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It's the 23rd where people are at work. And I get a fucking call at my house, like a page. And I go to the payphone. And it's an attorney. And he's like, I'm just calling you to inform you, you're not getting your child today. Until January 22nd, till the formal hearing. And I go, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? And I hung up on him and I called Kathy. And I go, Kathy, I don't know what you're doing, man. You're not going to give me the kid for 7 weeks over the holidays. Who does this? Who does this? Even if you and I have a misunderstanding, who does this?
And tell you the day before
fuck
Christmas
you,
Eve.
goodbye, Merry Christmas. Fuck you. And she hangs up on me. I went to my friend Danny and Madeline's house. And I got the bigger butcher knife they had. And I hugged her. And she goes, where you going with that knife? I go, I got to cut something outside in the car. She knew. And when I got in the car, I could see her chasing me in the rearview mirror. And I got in the car and I made a left-hand turn down fucking 28th Street. And I drove right to where the guy worked. And as I pulled onto his lot, I saw his fucking car there.
Wait. Music? What is it like when you're driving with a fucking knife to go stab somebody?
I was just crying. I just was crying because I was going to let everybody down. I'm going to go fuck this motherfucker up. I fucking knew it. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Like the same way I tied that dude up, like the same way I did 1,000 other bad things. I was going to chop this motherfucker up right in his fucking office.
Try to hide it or just right in front of everybody?
I had the knife in my collar, in my sleeve. It was going to pop out of my arm like De Niro had his knife in fucking Taxi Driver.
No, but you're not even worried or thinking about getting away with it. Fuck that.
No. In my mind, there was no way. I was going to make a point. I was going to fucking make a point. I was going to chop this motherfucker up in broad daylight.
Say anything or just go for it?
Just go for it. That was it. Everything bad that happened to me in my life was going to culminate right fucking now. Like right now. Everything bad that happened to me, whether I didn't get lunch in the 3rd grade, if a dog bit me, like everything bad that ever happened to me, I was going to take out on this fucking guy right now.
With that knife, fuck.
I went to the front. I said, where can I find John Ball? They said on the 4th floor, whatever, the 5th floor. I got on the fucking elevator. I went upstairs, and I just started walking. I went right to his office. I just opened the door. His receptionist looked at me. I said, well, where's John? She goes, if you're referring to Mr. Ball, he just stepped out to lunch with his associates. And I walked out. I went downstairs, and I just cried for like 10 fucking minutes in the car. Because he had no idea, and I had no idea what I was going to get myself into. This guy could have had a gun. This guy could have been waiting for me in the office. And that was it. I was fucking scared, man. If I had done that, I was going to do anything. I didn't trust myself anymore. So I made a promise. I forced myself to get on stage every time I felt shitty. Every time I felt shitty after that. And finally, I think I got her like the day after Christmas. I called her father and fucking said, listen, you're fucking not kidding me. You're not kidding me. And he called and got the kid, and I got her like the day after Christmas. I was pissed. I didn't even talk to them. At this point, I wouldn't even look at their faces no more. I just knew the day was going to come soon. I just had to figure out how to do it. And I didn't know whether I was going to do one of them or do them both. But if you're walking on ice, you might as well dance. I was going to do them both. One right in front of the other.
I was gonna say, like, if John was there and you did it, were you just gonna go for the wife? Do you think?
Both of them were gonna go down. One right in front of the other, so quick that this guy or this girl would shit their pants. They'd freeze. They wouldn't even know what to happen. Most people do. When you slice somebody's neck, most people do. They don't know what to fucking do. You know, everything I've ever seen in my life, when people get into misunderstandings, the guy that moves first like that, unsuspiciously, and makes like a heavy fucking move, just everybody in the room freezes. That's where experience comes from. That's where bodyguard or being in the service or being a cop, reaction. It's reaction. That's what the weird thing is. When you're on the street and a terrorist comes and he starts spraying a fucking restaurant you're in, it's your reaction. Are you really going to go for your ankle holster and start shooting somebody? It looks so easy on TV.
Right, and so that same. I guess the thing. I've got my question for you. You had been planning on. Oh, we got a call.
Speaking of bad motherfuckers, Mike Pyle on the phone.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, brother?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm just enjoying life right now, Big D.
Where's the baby?
He's in his room taking a nap.
Beautiful. Congratulations on Saturday. All I've been reading about is the 40-year-old still has it.
That's right. This old dog still got some fight, right?
Listen, unfucking believable. When I called Lee on Saturday, that's the first thing Lee said to me. Did you see Mike Pyle? Jesus fucking Christ.
It was a great fight, man. It was fucking because they like the announcers were like they weren't kind of being mean to you, but they weren't like favoring you that much. And you just started. It was in the second round, and it was like you know how John Jones punches with his elbows. You kind of punched down a little bit. It was almost like you were smacking him and punching him at the same time. And you would like grab his head and just go boom, just smack. And it was just amazing.
Well, the reason why there was a reason behind that kind of a downward punch like that. Me being the taller guy, one, two, his style, because he really he hunkers down and hides in behind his jabs, right? So he exposes the back side of his head a little bit and looks over his brow like he's supposed to. And with a little bit of a height advantage, I knew that, punching straight at him would probably deflect off of his good punching technique. So I wanted to come over the top of it and hit him with the club hammer fist.
It was amazing to watch, man. And I know you must be getting the question a lot, like, oh, the 40-year-old, but like that was a good fight. It was just a good fight. But I wanted to ask you about like your first fight, man. Like, you've been in the UFC for however many years and you've been fighting. Like, do you remember, like, your first wrestling match or first whatever it was?
Yeah, my first matches were jiu-jitsu. There were small, this is when, this was 95, 96. I started to do some jiu-jitsu tournaments, wanted to start competing there first and then migrate, not try to go into MMA. MMA really didn't really exist, but so yeah, I remember that. Getting out there, and I did a great job. I won most of my grappling matches I was ever in, and I was self-taught for many years.
You were self-taught?
I was self-taught on my parents' property in an old shed that measured 13 by 15. I had old rugs and carpet padding down on the floor with a type of a tarp that you might throw over a wood pile to keep dry or something. And that was my training facility with a punching bag in the middle of it and a grappling dummy named Bob and a 19-inch, maybe even smaller, maybe a 13-inch color TV and VCR for my videotapes, and a bunch of black belt magazines with the step-by-step grappling moves and whatnot, shit like that. Self-taught, brother.
And no other kids on the block, or you had a few kids on the block that would come over?
I didn't have a block, Joey. I lived in the sticks. I had a road.
All right. Anybody down the fucking road?
Nobody down the fucking road. We had farmers down the road that had shit to do. I had a cousin I would pick on. My sister's boyfriend at the time became one of my first jiu-jitsu students. He was probably 6 foot, 135 pounds, soaking wet, skinny. So he was a body to use as well. So I used what I could, did what I could.
How do you feel, Mike Pyle?
I feel fantastic. I feel like I really accomplished something great over this weekend. A personal goal of mine that I really wanted to win that fight. I took a lot of time and I put a lot of effort and thought into, my fight against Sean. So, everything came together. Everything was just perfect, and I ended up getting, a fight of the night bonus as well. So, I mean, that was just icing on the cake, man. I feel absolutely great. I'm just on top of the world, man.
You look good. Your movement looks good. Your movement is still young. I mean, a couple months ago, what's that guy's name fought? One of the Shamrocks.
Ken, probably.
Yeah, and he's 51 or something. I could fucking tell he's 50-fucking-1. I could fucking tell. His movement looked 51, okay? You're 40, you're still looking like you're 33. You took good care of yourself over the years, which helps. A lot of people would say, oh, well, Mike Pyle's 40, maybe he's juicing or whatever the fuck. No, I could just tell you're taking fucking care of yourself, man. You're taking really good care of yourself.
With USADA on board, there's no getting away with anything. You know what I mean? You can't. I've always been a clean fighter. I've never been, on the juice or whatever. You never see me in there all ripped up and fucking scary looking because I never did that shit. But, now we're all on a clean slate. So now I know for sure I'm not fighting anybody on anything. And, and of course I'm not on anything. So definitely not using anything.
No. I just said it like a lot of guys would go, oh, maybe he's 40. He's No. You look great. And I could tell that, no, you look great, man. But it's crazy how I'm 52 and I go to jiu-jitsu, and I tell you, at home I feel I can't do the shit I used to do at night, and I can't drink or nothing like that, but I could still work out 4 or 5 days a week. Like I could go to jiu-jitsu 3 days a week and make it work for me now, and maybe one day on the elliptical, and
I'm sure you've seen differences too. When you first started, you're probably like, "Oh man, what the hell?" But now it's gotten routine for you. It's like your body wants it now. Like you kind of craving it a little bit, right?
I do. I tell Lee I do something every other day now. Every other day I try to do something. That's the new thing. Not 2 days on, 2 days off. I try to do something heavy duty, like. I went today.
Body in motion.
Yeah, body in motion. I walk here.
Brother.
I walk the baby to school every morning. We pick her up because it's a little later and it gets a little fucking crazy to walk down those streets. But I know, Saturday for you, not only that, you've been fighting for so long that you're so experienced. It's like watching Bernard Hopkins towards the end there. He was fighting to his strengths, and then he was holding back. He wasn't over-fighting. He wasn't getting tangled up in fucking stupid exchanges. He was conserving his energy, and he would only strike when the fucking opening was there. And even with the elbows you were throwing, they were precise, obviously. Yeah. They were precise, and you were, what is it called? Like saving of economy of motion or economy of... I don't fucking
movement.
know. I'm not a trainer, no. I don't.
But I think it's interesting that, Mike, that you started with jiu-jitsu, because that's what I've found. I just started a couple months ago, and I'm terrible. But the great jiu-jitsu people are really calm and like they don't overreact to anything. So it was funny when he hit you. I think it was in like the second or the third round, and even I think Brian Stan said you were playing possum. But you as soon as you did it, you started giggling. Which is like a crazy thing to have happen in a UFC fight, to smile in the ring. That I would be terrified the entire time.
Well, what had happened there is when I stumbled a little bit, the camera didn't pick it up, so I did that. I did a little, try to, hopefully he'd maybe come in hard and I'd whack him with one. But he kind of stepped forward real quick, and then he smiled like, "Oh no, I know what you're doing," and that's why I smiled. I smiled back at him because he noticed what happened, and then he started smiling. He kind of shook his head at me like, "Oh no, I ain't falling for that one."
Now, how long do you stay? How long do you stay off of training for now?
I'll be back in the gym next week. There's not going to be any intensity involved, but I'll get back in there, maybe work on start moving the weights around a little bit, keeping my old man strength. and then start working on, some mitts again, work on some, I got dropped in that first round, so look at that, see, what happened there a little bit, worked on that, just fix some things a little bit here and there and see, and get in there, get on the mat, roll around, not with any intensity, learn some new stuff. So I'll be back in the gym next week, probably Monday. I'll be back in there doing something.
Well, Vinny hit me back, so I will definitely. I hope to see you Friday morning. I'm going to go to Vinny's.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Well, I think Vinny. See, the problem is Fridays is no gi. I'm not a no gi guy. Every time they grab the back of my neck, I have a nervous breakdown. So I can't have that. I'm still a gi guy. I'm an old man, Mike Pyle. I got to do the gis and simple passes and north souths and shit like that. I move slow like Roger Gracie, not because I'm methodical, because that's all I got. You know what I'm saying?
Quite okay. This Friday or next Friday?
Next Friday, the 19th. It's funny. There's a great blue belt in class today. And I had to free spar with him. And at one time he put his leg down and I put my knee on top of it. And he goes, "Oh, now you fucking got me." He goes, "Jesus Christ." And then I put my other leg on top of it. And we both just laughed and I just got off it. But I don't have much. But what I got is that 3 bills coming at you.
Right.
So if I get that on,
it's not about all that, man. It's about you get in there, you're bullshitting with the guys, you're hanging out, you're learning, and you're giving yourself knowledge every time you go in there. You're learning. You're a martial artist. That's what it's all about.
I'm scared to death. When I was going to kickboxing, that was fine. I could do the rounds, and the people would kick me, and I could deal with that. Jesus Christ, Mike Pyle. When people get on top of me, I got sleep apnea as it is. I can't fucking breathe. I get anxiety, so I just go down and I get on my back on every exercise. I just force myself through it.
So then there's something to work on there. If there's a panic there, learn how to not get all the way completely on your back. Learn how to stay just on your side or something like that. Figure it out. Figure that puzzle out. Make yourself comfortable there. Figure it out. That's what it's all about. It's a self-journey. For everyone is a different purpose for every single person, and you'll figure it out.
You're a beautiful
Everybody's
man,
got their own little journey.
When you won the other night, I was so happy. My wife was fucking happy. You make me so happy when you fight because I know that you're a blue-collar motherfucker. You're just a blue-collar guy like me, and you're scrappy.
That's right.
And your number one strength is your fucking heart and your balls. That's it. I don't know about jiu-jitsu or boxing, but your number one strength, you got nothing but heart and balls. I love that, man, about you. So,
well, I appreciate that. I think a lot more of my approach to a fight really showed, in this last fight, and more people talked about, how calm and precise and basically my approach to fighting. There's a lot of guys that that are the rock'em sock'em robot, the ones that like to see who can hit each other the hardest and fall down. But that's not me, and I think that's why I have a bit of longevity in the sport too, because I'm harder to hit. I'm evasive. I take a different approach to a fight than a lot. I'm not the most exciting fighter in the world, that's for sure, but that's not what I'm going for. Mine is to outwit and out-hit. That's what it's all about to me.
You keep repeating a word. That's very... There's my dog. There's my boy. You keep repeating a word.
You want mama?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does. You keep saying the word calm, Calm means that you're breathing is amazing. That's all that your calm is. But Mike Pyle...
You have to slow that shit down because it's crazy enough in there as it is. So if you get, if you're just, in my opinion, a lot of guys work great under sheer chaos in the fight and hope to catch you in an exchange or something like that. But for me, I like to just slow everything down. I can see everything. My defense is better. I'm not looking to try to put a guy out in the first minute and a half and be that flashy kind of guy. That's not not me. So if you slow it all down, I just feel like that you can make better decisions in there when you need to. So that's just my style.
So they were like that was one of the things they were saying. They said that you are a slow starter sometimes. Would you call it that, or would you just call it that you like to study your opponent and you can take a couple hits until you really know how you're going to attack it?
Yeah, slow starter just kind of, it just took me, and it takes you a little bit to get woken up and find a rhythm, kind of is what that kind of means. And you know, I've worked on that. I worked on it in the back, meaning I get a lot better warm up, a more intense warm up, a lot of it's kind of hard to explain, but just a lot more punches and things to wake me up going on in the back now, and you know, just different things to kind of get me awake. Because yeah, it's true. You know, it takes me a little bit to get going. And some guys have come in and taken advantage of that and really get on me quick. Where this kid, Sean, he did the same, but game plan was just stay on my wheels, stay hard to hit, and take it into take the fight deeper. And that's exactly what we did, and that was good and self-rewarding for myself as well. For that night, I learned a lot, and that was one thing I learned about myself that night too. Is I stuck with the game plan, did what I was supposed to for that first couple minutes, get moving. But still, I got popped. You know, he dropped me, but wasn't good enough to put me away. Wasn't hard enough, rather. So I was able to maintain, gather myself, and get the job done.
Well, you keep saying, and you said it that night. You said like, I'm not that entertaining of a fighter. I just rewatched the fight before the show, and it wasn't like I was entertained the whole time.
I was entertained.
It was great. Like you started off, not that it was slow, but it was just like you feeling each other out, and then like the middle of that second round when you guys are just battling each other was crazy, and then the end of the third round was amazing. Like I've never seen a fighter do that. Like look for a ref to say, "Come on, man, stop it." That was interesting.
I'll give him a chance because man, I was hitting the dude really hard, man. Like when I was hitting him with those knees, I mean, it was like his head was going to crack open. So I just looked at the ref like, I'm going to keep. I mean, really? Okay. That's what I'm in there to do. But I feel like he was beaten enough. So, whatever.
Mike Pyle,
but one more strike after that, he stopped it. So he was ready. He was ready to stop me. So.
I love you, Mike Pyle, man. I'm happy. Hopefully I'll see you next week for sure. I don't know if you can make it to the show.
Hi.
Oh, send her my love. You know I love her to death.
She's standing right here, and you're on speaker.
All right. Tell her I send her my love. How are you, Mrs. Pyle? Hopefully everything's going all right over there.
Oh, everybody's happy.
Oh, please. You got the fight of the night.
Daddy got a big win, got a bonus.
Bonus? Forget about it.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's jumping up and down. You're like Beyonce at the Super Bowl, jumping up and down. I love you, Mike Pyle. I'll see you next Friday for class.
You got it.
All right, bring your gi. You have a gi?
I got a gi, and I got a black belt to go with it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, now I'm really scared. I might not show up now. I'll see you next Friday. Thank you for calling in, buddy. Right. And congratulations. Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. What a sweetheart of a guy, man.
Yeah, that was
great.
I'm
really happy for him. I'm really happy. Let me give some shout-outs real quick. Number one to my man Bergie and his beautiful wife for dropping off the B-52 album at the house and making my fucking day for my birthday. I love you to death, Bergie, since the day we met when you were in front of me in the fucking car. I've always loved Bergie. Niall Hardy, Sean Parry, my man JT, Atlantic Greek, Leon, Constantine Rain, Water Boxer, Ookie Spooky, my girl Cleo, Jimmy Christensen. You know who the motherfuckers are, man. I love you guys with all my heart, and I'm happy that you're still part of what we're doing here. What's up with you, fucko? Huh?
I had a good week with my dad.
I know you did.
That was fun seeing him.
It means the world to me that you around him. A lot of people don't know how important that is, that you... I like it. I was torturing you all week that you poisoned them with that shitty food. I could tell I was pissing you off. You were confused.
Because we would get high every night, And he would call me and he'd be like, "That place has lizards." I'm like, "It doesn't have lizards. It wouldn't still be open if it had
It's
lizards."
got fucking lizards in there. I'm telling
And
you.
you're
Right
like,
now.
Diaz, got sick over there. You got food
Everybody
poisoning.
got sick. Chinese people get sick. Chinese people never get sick. When they get sick eating Mexican food, you know it's a fucked up place. So that I just wanted to talk about that today. It's a great show. From what I've seen, the acting is good. You know, it keeps me entertained. It's a little Tuesday night thing, so it replaces my wife's Son of Anarchy shit. But, you know, the whole Sons of Anarchy was on Tuesday.
Right.
And it comes on at 7. So that's why it's just a very interesting series that at first I was like, why would somebody do this? People don't even remember that shit. And I'm like, wait a second. I thought of Lee. And I go, Lee was just being born when this shit went down. Lee
Yeah, I
doesn't
have
know what
no
happened.
idea.
All little things and out, the rioting, the earthquake. I mean, L.A. was just getting bombarded for fucking months. And then this OJ thing really pushed it over. People didn't know what the fuck to think with this OJ thing. They didn't know what to think. And that day that he got acquitted, that fucked the country up for like a week, man. Because it showed the country that if you put together, like, okay, he had the dream team for a legal defense.
Right.
But it also showed, like a guy like me, that if you pay for your defense, sometimes the prosecution, I know on my kidnapping thing that the prosecutor, I should have taken that to trial. There's times I think, like I should have gunned it out with them. Because I would have fucked them all up. Because both of those guys' credibility was shit. I had the best, when I got the best credibility in the fucking room, you got a goddamn problem.
Yeah, but shit goes down.
Shit goes
there's DA's offices all the time that are getting caught. Like Orange County now is just like had to fire all their DAs.
Why?
Because they were all corrupt. Like it was something like there were 90% conviction rate, like the highest in Orange County, and then like I don't know, it was a whole bunch of DAs and police people that had to get fired because they were corrupt and probably not doing evidence. I don't know the full story.
Well, falsifying evidence and, you know, planting evidence and, you know, not fucking logging in. There's a lot of shit. Listen, like with John Gotti's defense, the government bid in and they decided they were going to take John Gotti. People talk. People always talk. The only way you and I could do something is if we talk. The only way you and I can make money is if we talk.
Right.
But if you listen to those Gotti tapes, something wasn't right. I've always thought, and then I always thought that. I heard the tapes, 10 years later, and I read the thing. My friend got me the thing and how he was talking about Sammy the Bull, and he was talking about all this money. The bottom line is the feds taped him saying all this shit. Okay? They could have got a wiretap later. They had wiretap people. Like, what happens is those people that work for the feds quit, and now they know how to work the feds because they've been in that room when the feds are like, fuck that. Make that kilo instead of we will. Instead of we will, go, make that a kilo. Just so we could hear kilo. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised you wanted to take your thing to trial.
Well, because
how
in
fucking dirty
Boulder, they weren't dirty as much as white. See, in Boulder, they weren't dirty as much as white.
What's the difference?
I wanted to play fucking Big East defense, but I paid $500 or something to see the law clerk, the head of the law school.
Okay.
When you get in trouble, there's a process. And I was going to go, see, I lucked out because I would have got a court-appointed attorney because Tidwell got arrested first, and he got a public defender. So I couldn't get a public defender because that's conflict of interest. So I got a real fucking attorney. So I had the state pay for a real fucking attorney for me. I just had to pick one. You follow me? So I would fire attorneys till I found the one I wanted. The state would have to fucking pick them. Even though I had to pay my attorney money, too, on the side.
For what?
Because I wanted him to do a good fucking job.
You tip your attorney?
Why not? $17,000 worth of tips.
Over how long?
6 months.
And he would just go, yep.
And then another 1,500 when I got out.
Why?
Because of the job that he did, Lee. I was looking at 9 fucking years. He did what the Dream Team did without the 4 other guys. That's how smart and white he was.
Did he act surprised or shocked when you offered him money, or he was used to it? That's fucking crazy to me. I get why you did it.
Take this. That's what that's called. Take it. I want you to know I'm committed to this. You're committed, I'm committed, we're all fucking committed. Okay, I want you to know. He swayed their decision. He swayed their, how can I say it? He did something that I didn't think about doing in the defense. He was like, I'm going to take away the violence. Because I looked through every fucking piece of paper that you got, every arrest, there's no violence. So I'm going to plant the violence on Tidwell. He goes, watch. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Because I'm going to get you convicted of a non-violent crime. He goes, you're going to get convicted about something. When I went to the law clerk at the department, this is what happened. All right, I got out.
Okay.
I asked around. I met with a couple shysters. They were just straight up gangsters. Straight up $800 suits, gangster and me, this and this. So what I did was I called Sam DeLuca, the guy in Jersey. That was my mother's attorney.
Okay.
And he wanted $30,000 just to get on the plane.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is not going to work. But can I ask you something? What if I send you a check just for... And he goes, no. Your mom and me were tight and won. And I go, listen, this is what's going on. He goes, do me a favor. He goes, get a pen. And he goes, call this guy at the University of Colorado Law Department. He runs the department. He goes, I'm tight with him. I'll get off the phone with you, and I'll call him up. And he knows that system better than me. Call him up and listen to what he has to tell you. He's going to charge you. So I think he charged me like $500 for a 1-hour fucking sit and chat about what he would do. And he planned out the defense for me. And he goes, if you go with an East Coast guy, they're going to give you 1,000 years. He goes, I want you to go with a fucking farmer. A guy that looks like a farmer.
That's he's drafting your defense. That's crazy.
So he told me you're going to do 90 to 120 days in any, and that's minimum. That's the least you're going to do. He goes, if I was a judge, I'd give you 6 months in county. Or I'd send you to prison and reconsider your sentence, which is what your attorney's going to do. He goes, they're going to give you something because of the weapon involved. Whether it was your weapon or not, whether your fucking prints weren't on the machine gun or not.
That's really only 6 months?
Well, because he wanted to show me a lesson. Like a year in county jail is 6 months. You follow me? So if I
saying I would have thought it would be like a 6 or 7 year sentence.
Well, what he was saying was if I pay for the defense, I'll get a long probation like the affluenza kid and short time just to scare me so I behave. See, that's what happened to the affluenza kid. He had so much money, they just paid those gangsters off. And they got him 10 years probation, which is never good if there's no punishment. Because now the guy's like, psh, I got off, Jack. I do whatever the fuck I want. No, you didn't get off. You got 10-year fucking probation, stupid. That means if you get 3 or 4 driving fucking tickets and they come up before your probation officer, he could fucking send you back, for like a habitual bad driver or something. They'll find something.
Well, that story's fucking crazy. But you always say, if your mom had lived, you would have been a spoiled guy.
Worthless.
Worthless. Like him, like the affluenza.
Worthless. Because I hustled a little before my mom died, but I hustled with a back door. Like I always knew mommy would bail me out. Do you follow what I'm saying to you? Hustling when you got a bailout and hustling when you're hustling for yourself. It's 2 different hustles, my friend.
Do you work harder when you don't have a bailout, I guess?
You work smarter, and you play for keeps. It took me 10 years to learn how to play for fucking keeps. I didn't know how to play for keeps. I was just playing the game. I didn't really know what was going on out there. But
So
once you have a mommy, if you get robbed or if you get in trouble, somebody bails you out. When I get in trouble, there was nobody there to bail me out. You follow where it's... No, listen, Lee, tomorrow you bet New England Patriots and they lose. And I come to your house and I sit you down and I go, listen, bro, I need 20,000. You lost 33. I'm not looking for the 33. But I'll tell you what, Lee, I will kick that fucking door down in the office. I will take everything a computer in there. And then I'm going to come looking for you. So you better give me fucking something by Friday. I want 20,000 by Friday and we'll work out 13,000. If you got it 12 in the bank, where are you going to get the other 8 from? Mom. Brother and dad. First.
Yeah, I guess probably.
There's always an angle. You can always have one. And are you going to pay mom the $8,000 back if you're still gambling? Fuck. Are you going to pay? No.
I never finished it, but the movie The Gambler, where he's just borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his parents. Oh my God.
Gave you anxiety.
I can't even imagine it.
Because he always had an out. If I fucking told him I'm going to break your fucking head, stop fucking gambling, cocksucker, then it would have been a different goddamn story. But once you have an out, like I had a friend that had a grandmother, that every time he lost a gambling, he went to his grandmother. And his grandmother threw him, fucking 10, whatever he fucking... Can you imagine that? Every time you lose 12, 10,000, you go to your grandmother?
That'd be amazing. Those are the kids I grew up around. And it used to infuriate me.
And he would tell her a story like, Grandma, I need 10,000 for my car business. If you give me this 10,000, I'll give you 20 in 3 weeks. You never pay back your relatives. Nobody does. You take them as a joke. So you get that free pass. Now you got to pay me off to 13. And monthly fucking payments.
That's way too much. I would have too much anxiety to bet on. I would never bet too much. I would never bet more than I had.
Well, that's what you say at first, but then after it sucks you in, after you win a couple thousand, and you're like, oh, I got this. Then you'll.
That's why I'm so happy I didn't work in Vegas or ever live in Vegas.
You wanted to move there and be a professional.
I would have. No. I was gonna. Right when we started, I had that in the interview at the UFC, and thank God, I would have been back in Boston.
I'm very lucky, and I 2-3 years ago I started thinking every time I woke up in the morning, but I'm very lucky, Lee. I was in a position during that whole thing that I was going to kill those people. Like last night I was sitting there and I tried to explain it to Terry and I stopped because I don't want Terry to even think of me that way. I don't want to think that, I don't want to make Terry think that, but I could tell you guys and I could tell you, your family, because this is where I came from. That was the darkest I ever was. So now.
What? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
When you were talking, when those guys, the Vietnam guys, were telling you how they were gonna kill him and leave him, whatever. What are you thinking on the inside? Like that, it would blow my brain. Like, because you had never killed anybody at that point. Like, no. When people are telling you that, like, how can you even react?
I was so angry, Lee. I was so angry that it brought up the shit that I was angry about when I was a kid. Like, I was so hurt after my divorce, how she acted over the kid, that I couldn't get over it. Remember when I told you when you can't wrap your head around something, your central nervous system breaks down, you walk around fucking confused? Like, I was just walking around. I don't know till this day how I was doing stand-up or what was coming out of my mouth, because I was just plain fucking angry.
Are there any tapes from back then?
I don't know. I was just plain fucking angry. I would go to bed angered. I would wake up angered. And then I was adding blow to the thing, which would make me more angry. And then I would have to tolerate. I would have to see them on Wednesdays and Sundays. And then I would get a bill from the attorney on the 5th. And it would be for thousands, Lee. So I have to call the guy and go, I'm going to send you over 1,000 tomorrow, 1,000 on the fucking 12th, and then 500 on the 18th, you know. It was just stressful.
And would you get stressed out, like the 30th or whatever, just knowing that the 5th is coming up, just knowing that bill's coming?
No. You know I was getting stressed out about?
What?
That I'm giving a jerk off $2,000 a month. You're giving that same jerk off. You're giving a different jerk off $2,000 a month. And this is $1,500 that could be going into your daughter's pocket and $500 that could be going into my pocket. This is what I was pissed off about. That I was paying all this money to see my fucking daughter every month, plus child support, plus my cocaine habit, plus trying to fucking survive, you know? All these little things were going on. Plus this lady's yanking me. Now I'm getting madder, and plus I'm frustrated with the comedy because I wasn't moving fast enough. Like, you're out there every fucking night. Like, I was into this comedy, and I'm in there every fucking night, and nothing's happening, Lee. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Like, I'm not, HBO's not knocking on my door. I'm not, The Tonight Show is not calling me. You know, I got 18 of the funniest, you know, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. God only fucking knows. The only thing I did know that these people were getting closer to being a fucking grave every fucking day. And I still remember meeting with them. Where the fuck was it? There was this, on the hill, there was this taco place under a barbershop on the hill, like in a little mall, right across from the university when you first walk up to the college, up there. And they lived up in Chautauqua Park or something. I met them both in that Mexican place. And I'll never forget sitting at this table talking to them, and it felt like a scene in a movie. It felt like a scene in a mafia movie, like discussing how somebody was going to die.
Were you eating?
Eating tacos.
And they're just sitting there just
going.
And we're going to do this in the woods.
And they're doing this because they're my friends. There's no money involved. There was no nothing. They were seeing what was going on. And they're like, this is fucked up that this is happening to you. What's she doing with the kid? And I'm like, this is what's happening. And Ed's like, fuck it, let's take this bitch down. So at first, there was a couple different plans. There was just a plan to scoop her up with that alcohol and put it over her face and put it in the trunk of a car and take up a few miles. And then we were going to have a cave already fucking set and just start to stab her and make her bleed out a little bit and then tie her up. This was crazy. And we giggle, but this is what I was discussing with two other men at a fucking table. And then Ra wouldn't show up, and it'd just be me and Ed. But when Ra would show up, Ra was like, dog, let's just shoot her in the fucking head with a rifle from 30 yards. Let's see where she lived. I mean, it was just crazy. So you're not involved at all. Go do comedy for a week, and then we'll just shoot her in the fucking head.
They were just going to do it for
Shoot
you?
her in the fucking head. And then they had another plan to fucking lure her in by where? Like to lure the husband first in his Porsche at the time. I mean, they had thousands of ideas, bro. They're the ones that taught me how to put cellophane into a gas tank. And then the cellophane goes around your fuel ignition and your car stalls. And that's how they would shoot. That's what they wanted to do. They were just going to follow them to the car stall, do a cutback, and then shoot them when they were in the car. Or they were. I mean, they had thousands of ideas. And I'm sitting there going, so now what happens? I go on the road, I come back, she's dead, I gotta go to a fucking funeral. Cops are gonna be all over me. You know, I got no bank account, I got nothing, I got no money, so it's not like I hired a hit. So what the fuck, who's gonna crack and rat me out first? Because that's what happens. If you're gonna ice somebody, you gotta do it by yourself. And no witnesses, and you gotta have it planned out to the fucking T, you know? And that's the thing, that in that OJ trial, there was one piece they were looking for, the murder weapon and the clothes. Whatever happened to that? And the word on the street was he gave it to Kardashian.
Fuck.
And Kardashian disposed of it. And he died of cancer. The black attorney died of cancer. The other attorney died of cancer. It's really weird what happened in that whole thing and how it turned out.
Do you believe in that? I love, like, if you do something bad like that, like,
I've lived it. It's not that I believe in it. It's that I've lived it, Lee. I've done bad shit. And as bad shit's being done to me, that thing I did has popped up in my mind. just popped up in my fucking mind. And you're like, God damn it. God damn it.
Do you think it's absolved after that then?
Yeah, probably is. That certain thing is forgiven. It's happened to me a ton. Like, where I'll be sitting there going, holy shit, you know, I did this. And now I don't do nothing. You know, so you could feel it. When you're not doing bad things aren't happening to you. Listen, life is peak and valleys, and bad things are going to happen and good things are going to happen. But sometimes we create those bad things. You know, you create a DUI, right? Nobody creates a DUI. Life doesn't create a fucking DUI. You create a coke possession. You create a coke problem. You create an arrest for burglary. You create an arrest for kidnapping. These are the things we create. A flat tire.
It's not your fault, but...
The road is closed. The 101, you can't get to work because there's an oil spill. You lost $55 for the day. You know when you really need money? Mm-hmm. That you'll go to work, even if it's fucking the end of the world, you'll go to work. You know those days when an oil spill comes. And it's the day you got to pick up your check. And you missed a day of work. Do you know what I'm saying? These are little things that are just life things. You go to the airport and your plane's delayed 4 hours. That happens. That happens. I could curse and call Lee and call American Airlines a cunt on Twitter. All I want. It doesn't matter. The plane's going to be fucking delayed. But...
Do you think life ever...
But you getting into the car accident and they take your prints at the hospital and you murdered your wife 30 years early and you're on the run, that's karma.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
You know, you putting 30 pounds of weed under your hotel bed and you don't put the not disturb on your thing, and the maid comes in and sees 30 pounds and she calls the cops, and the cops wait for you. You did something to somebody. Or just you muckering in that business.
You just deserve what you get.
What are you going to blame it on?
You can blame it on everybody.
When you go to fucking Big Wings,
right,
and you watch a game and you eat 60 wings and 15 fucking beers,
right,
and you get in your car, what's going to happen if you get pulled over?
You're going to get a DUI and you're going to go to jail and pay 10 grand.
And who creates that?
Oh, yeah, it's totally your fault. I mean, you said before that the biggest problem you had was you wouldn't claim responsibility. I'm sure you said everyone in prison, everyone thinks or says they're innocent. So, I mean, people, even though it is obviously their fault, people love
everybody's
making
framed
excuses.
like a motherfucker. Oh, yeah. Especially now. See, this is why I don't give attention to those shows where people get framed.
Why?
Because now everybody gets framed. Now for the next 6 years, I'm going to see 18 fucking documentaries on how everybody was fucking framed. I get it. It's my biggest fear. It's everybody's biggest fear. Can you imagine Lee going to driver's license, and all of a sudden you put your fingerprint down, they take your picture, and all of a sudden 3 cop cars come in? Like, we need to talk to you. You were involved in a murder 3 years ago with a pedestrian. You left the film. What are you fucking talking about? Did you live in Boston? And you're like, yeah. You hit somebody one night with a car or something like that. They found a piece of evidence. You had a Coke bottle and you threw it out the window. And somebody gets hit by a car and the Coke bottle's there. You know what I'm saying, Lee? You never fucking know, my friend.
It's terrifying.
You never fucking know.
And spend 18 years in prison.
Can you imagine what you're feeling inside if you're not fucking guilty of what you did?
And the crazy thing is people get offered deals a lot. And they'll say, oh, I'm not going to take the deal because I'm not guilty. Like, they could have been out of prison already if they had taken a deal. But because they want to say they're innocent.
Would you take a deal if you were innocent of something and they made you sign a piece of paper? I heard a story about a friend of mine in Colorado. He's got a kid. The kid was fucking 15, 14, and he found the porno. And he showed it to his cousin. And his cousin went home and told the dad. And the cops came and arrested that kid. And they had no attorney in the room, and they made him sign something. And the kid ended up going to a fucking home and claiming guilty to one of those sex things, where now he has to move into a neighborhood and tell him the thing.
Ugh.
I told him to send me the letter. He sent me the letter. It's horrifying. It's called Sexual with a Young Kid or something, where you have a Playboy and I have a Playboy. It was fucking something I had never heard before, Lee. But again, this kid didn't have an attorney. He didn't call his father because he was scared.
I can see how that would happen.
You follow me? So there's a lot of loopholes. There's so many fucking things.
But, I mean...
Can you fucking imagine, Lee, you showing me a Playboy magazine when we're 14? Do you know how many fucking kids showed me Playboy magazines and pictures of women getting fucked in the ass and black and white pictures of women that you would buy in New York City? You know, the Ali brothers, those kids I always talk about with Louis Aldivar from McKinley School where I grew up. Those kids were in 8th grade, 7th grade. They were going to the Bronx and getting their dick sucked on Saturdays for 15 fucking bucks. And they would tell us all about how the chick would wash their dick in a bucket and all this shit. These people had hours of pornography. They had fucking, tons of pictures, like real pictures. Like your dad would take pictures of a chick on Fridays and sell them on the corners.
Fuck, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Because I was just going to say that maybe it's because now it's digital. Like, you always hear about how, like, some teachers will get caught in a school and they have child porn. And I was going to think maybe back then it was just stories. But if they're selling physical pictures, that's fucking
Listen,
crazy.
dog, I'm going to tell you something. As fucking worldly as I think I am, and worldly as you may think I am, I never knew child porn existed till 20, 25 years ago. I was a grown man. I got sick to my stomach. I never knew child porn existed.
How could you?
I
Why
read
would
an
you think
article
about
in a not a People magazine, one of those New Yorker magazines on a flight about, and I didn't know it existed. I didn't know any fucking idea what people pay for. And the internet is what really spawned it to different levels, but it had to be there. That market was there when I was growing up. I mean, no coach ever took a picture of me whacking off with a bikini on and a football helmet on and sold them for $5. But somebody had to be doing creepy shit like that, you know?
It's scary to think about that. It's huge. There's a huge market, and I'm not. You're never sure now if it's a joke article, but I saw an article that they have a doll in Japan that's like a one of those sex dolls, but it's for pedophiles, so it's for like a little kid.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about anymore. I'm stoned and all this fucking killing talk. But yeah, that's what really happened.
I have a question for you.
Hit me.
How come you were never like just a weed dealer? I could see you having a fucking fun time being just like a weed dealer, listening to music. How come you never did that?
I sold weed when I was younger. But after cocaine came, it was the difference between me walking around with a fucking bag like the one I walk around in, or me walking around with nothing in my hands and just a pound of coke in my pocket. In little 20s. I'm exaggerating, a pound of
No,
coke.
but why not just have like a little apartment and like have no?
It's a lot of exposure for the amount of dough, in contrast to cocaine at the time. And I really liked doing blow, and I liked doing it for free, so that's what worked out. But the moral of this fucking story is, man, that I watched that OJ and I see how stupid I was for a few weeks, and how just my conversations could have became a reality, and I wouldn't be here with you right now. I'd be doing life for murder, for fucking premeditated murder. I don't know how I shook that, man. But I remember that once all that shit went down in court, we were really adamant about it. Like we were like, how are we gonna do it? And at this point, they were like, fuck it. When are you going on the road? And I kept saying, pretty fucking soon. And they're like, okay, let us know like her routing and we'll shoot her. Like with a high power rifle, we'll fucking just take her out.
Were they gonna shoot the husband too?
I don't know. They were like, we'll shoot who's ever in the fucking car. I mean, it was fucking crazy. And I was having these kind, and then we met a couple times, and then I would always meet Ed. Ed was my goomba. I met Ed all the time by Moe's Bagels in North Hollywood. He would come down from those hills, and we'd meet over by that bagel shop. There was a supermarket over there. I don't know what it is now. There was a little liquor store, so I would always buy Ed a beer, and we'd just chit-chat outside, you know. It hurt. It really hurt having those conversations. And a big part of me really wanted to fucking ice her at the time, man. But you know what, man? I'm lucky that I am a pussy. I'm lucky that I didn't go through with it. I'm lucky.
Thank God.
I just know. You know what made me think about it? I go, what the fuck am I thinking? I would make that little girl a fucking
orphan
like I was. And at that point, I wasn't about to be a parent. There was no fucking way. And nobody was going to let me be a parent. Her parents would definitely get out. Listen, eventually I would have gone to jail, no matter how clean I was. I could have been on the fucking moon on TV, and that would have got back to me. Because those guys were just crazy. Those guys were crazy. And I'm sure the other guy was doing hits for somebody on the side or something. They were fucking crazy.
It's amazing how one decision could have just changed your life.
Changed my life with the anger and
just because, yeah.
I had hatred. I had so many fucking feelings going through me, and I just wanted to fucking. I can't even. What?
Nothing. There's just a lot of planes.
Is it a plane or is it the end of the fucking world out there?
I don't know.
It's like motorcycles and Sons of Anarchy. Anyway, it was just watching that OJ thing brings me back to that time. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. How lucky I am that I'm here doing a podcast with you. Because right now I could have been doing a podcast and fucking behind the fucking walls of Sing Sing or some shit with fucking Motorcycle Mania out here next to me over here. And that's it. That's fucking where we ended, motherfucker. I'm good to go. Awesome. I said what I had to say. Next week, I'm going to be fucking 53. I hope you join me at the South Point. I don't give a fuck if you do or don't. Lee's going to be there. Esther Koo's going to be there. Larry Anderson's going to be there. You know, the dudes with the best fucking weed in town are going to fucking be there. They were on Vice. I mean, you know, my man, the Death Stars might show up. We got some shit cracker lacking in Vegas Friday and Saturday night. Then the Wednesday after that, if you're local, I really need you. I need you in the main room at the Comedy Store February 24th, guys. I need you in there to support. I got Netflix coming out. I got a couple people coming out, and I got to let them know that hey, you guys want me to have a special. This is it. I don't even know what fucking material I'm doing that night or whatever. But that's it. I love you, motherfuckers. I'm happy that my man Mike Pyle called in. And
that was great.
Yeah, it was just a different kind of week. We're finally settling into the office. I feel a little bit more comfortable, guys. So thank you for taking the ride. I know the Ray Canella podcast was weird, and there was another one there that was weird. But please, you know, we've been doing this for 4 years. I always knew we'd fucking come up on top, cocksuckers. We got Lee Syatt in the helm. You always got to have a Jew around. And that's it, motherfuckers. I want to give a shout out to Onnit, Onnit.com, for all the great supplements they have, especially their flagship, Alpha Brain, which is my backbone. You understand me? If you see I'm a little bots and fucked up and going off tune, it's because I haven't had my fucking Alpha Brain. I'm a big Hemp Force guy. I'm a big Shroom Tech guy, whether it's the sport or the immune. Listen, I just believe in fucking Onnit. So do me a favor. Go to Onnit.com right now and press in. Church, and get 10% off your first order delivered to your door. We ain't fucking around, all right? I also want to give out shout-outs to Ring, naturebox.com, Club
Blue
W.
Yep. Blue Apron,
MeUndies. All our sponsors, MeUndies, during the week. You know we love you motherfuckers, too. And thank for you guys to listen to the podcast this week. We'll be back Monday night and Wednesday night next week, okay? So there you have it.
And if you want the last bit of Dickie Syatt, I had him on My Life in Neutral with Johnny Rock yesterday.
Yeah, he was all fucked up yesterday, too. All right, I love you guys. Stay black. Have a great weekend. Be safe. I love you, motherfuckers.